Now that the peas are up, it's time to start trellising. In this video, I'll show you how I use chicken wire to trellis our peas. But I'm also trying something new this year. Last fall, while partaking in one of my favorite off-homestead activities, going through a bookstore, I came across a great book, The Complete Compost Gardening Guide, by Barbara Pleasant and Deborah Martin. This book is all about composting in place, rather than composting off-site and moving it into your garden. There are a lot of great ideas. One such technique is called comforter compost, which is shown here. I'm giving it a shot, and I also want it to look nice since it's right in front of the house. So, I'm putting up this homemade trellis fence. There's a small portion of our property that we call the bowl. When the previous owner had this land cleared for his house lot, he had to do something with all the stumps and trees that he didn't want to use that were cut down and dug up. So, he brought in an excavator and had the guy dig a huge hole in a part of the yard that he wasn't going to use. This is not a very effective long-term solution, at least not the way it was done here, because it was only covered with a very thin layer of topsoil and not compacted previously, which I think is pretty normal. Unfortunately, what that means is that we have large sinkholes in this bowl. We don't really let the kids down there because some of these sinkholes are 6 to 8 feet deep in amongst the trees that were buried underneath and haven't rotted yet. Anyway, the only thing this place is good for is growing a lot of sumac, which is another way of saying good for pretty much nothing. I cut all of these saplings out of the bowl last fall and figured while I was at it, I might as well try to make something pretty. It's not pretty yet, but my plan is to use it to contain this compost, but also grow morning glories on it, so it'll look really nice when you drive in. We'll see how it works. Now that that project's complete, or at least started, it's time to trellis the peas, which have come up and are about 2 inches tall. As you can see, I'm using a wrecking bar to make the hole. This is something that I learned from my father-in-law. This is how he sets all of his fence posts everywhere on his farm every spring. The posts for the trellis are made of cedar, which I've cut from our property. I use them over and over again every year, and they have roofing nails nailed in to within half an inch of the head. These nails are what hold up the trellis. If you use this method of trellising, make sure you know where the knots are on the fence posts. The same is true for the nails. It's really quite painful to jam one of these posts in and have your hands slide down onto a knot or a nail. Each year around this time, I get to use one of the skills that I learned in Boy Scouts, which I went all the way through to become an Eagle Scout. Here I am lashing. This skill is useful when you're making a trellis because you want to make sure that the end posts don't sag in. When pea vines are fully grown and loaded with full peas, they're very heavy, and your fence posts will start to move in towards the center, just due to the weight. Lashing cross braces from the top of the end post to the bottom of the second post in will help prevent this.